So I think you can proceed.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we are almost starting. It is, we still have 1 minute to start, so I think we are all here, but I'm just going to wait for some seconds. The lesson we are going to have today is about double attack. That's the tactical theme we're going to work with in this lesson. Okay. So yeah, I think we're already in time. So we are already starting here. Hello, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here again. As I said some seconds ago, we're going to work today with double attack. That's the name of a tactical theme. So probably you have seen some positions with this idea already, but we're going to study probably a little deeper that here today. I will be asking some questions about what we saw in the first lesson. Remember, we were talking about tactical devices, and we mentioned things like, for example, combination, a tactical theme, or motives. We were talking about those three ideas. So in some point, I will ask questions about that. We're going to see a master's game. I will always try to have some interesting game for the lesson, sorry. So we're going to analyze a master's game. We are going to be playing 10 minutes game in some moment of the lesson, and we're going to be solving many puzzles. Perfect. So if you want to say anything or ask something, please, you can use the chat. That's what we're going to use. Yeah, yes, Ananda. A double attack is like a fork. Actually, a fork is a double attack. It's some kind of double attack, a fork. So yeah, discovered attack is something different. It's another tactical thing. Yeah. So yeah, double attack is one tactical theme. Discovered attack is another tactical theme. That's right. And a fork is actually some kind of double attack. Okay. Yes, good afternoon, Martin. Very good. We're going to see discovered attack here in some lesson, I think. I need to check the plan, but I'm almost sure. Very good. Okay, well, there was a homework. I think I should take a look at the homework, how you could do it. Please, those who could do the homework, please confirm. Okay, let's see, Ananda. Okay, could anyone else solve some puzzles like 12 is what we said? Okay. Okay, I'm going to check. I'm going to check here. I have some of you here. I think all of you are here in the, well, Saidi. I had a problem with Saili here. I couldn't find the puzzles you were solving. I'm not sure where I did something wrong, but actually I didn't see. Let me check some others. This one is Martin, I think, and Martin was solving some puzzles over here. The problem is the outcome. Let me check the rated, because yeah, you were working with rated. Okay, it's fine. Remember I said learning just in case, in order you to be able to pick a range, you know, from 800 to 1000. That's what I said. Use learning mode. But if you did it in rated is also fine. It's not the It's not what I said, but it's also fine for me if you did rate it. It's okay. So it's okay, Martin, very well. Sadi, did you use this user for the puzzles? Because I don't see them here. Yes, same user. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I will check it later. It's fine. So let me check the other ones. Here we have. Let me see. Yeah, it's okay. I'll check Ananda. Yeah, I see Ananda was solving the puzzles here. Okay. The rating is not between 800 and 1000 in all the positions. So remember, we said the range, try to use range between 800 and 1000, Ananda. But I saw you were working, that's important. So that's fine. And here we have Adele. Okay, this is Adele. Okay, she was also working here. Okay, a good work. And here we have Shen. He was working with learnings, some really tough puzzles here, 1882. So that's fine. And Ariel, I'm not sure where Ariel is. Yeah, where Ariel is. Ariel is not here right now. Okay. Okay, it's fine. So yeah, I think you were doing a pretty good job in the lessons. Only some problems because it's not exactly how I said, but I know it's because you probably didn't understand very well, but you were working. That's the most important thing for me, that you work a little, solve puzzles, even if it is not exactly the way I said, but it's fine. Remember that I said use the range between some and some rating. So you're not solving puzzles too easy for you. You're solving puzzles where you have to think at least a little. But in general, it's fine. I think you did a good job. So let's start. Let's talk a little about double attack. As you can imagine, a double attack is when you are threatening two things at the same time. Probably the two things can be two hanging pieces. So you can be threatening two pieces with one move. That should be a double attack, but not necessarily they are going to be pieces. For example, in some moments, you can be threatening mate and one piece, and that's also a double attack. Also, you can find you will find in some texts double attack as double threat. That can happen. It's more or less the same idea. A fork, some of you were talking about fork, is a double attack with a pawn. So that's the idea. Double attack is when you attack two things at the same time. If the two things you're attacking is with the pawn, then we say that's a fork. So it's included in double attack, actually, the fork. Although I think I have seen it here in chess.com as a separated kind of position, but we should say that actually a fork is some kind of double attack in general. That's what we say. But again, I think I have seen it here in chess.com as a different tactical thing, but it's not a different tactical thing. It's a double attack with the pawn. Also, as Ananda is asking me, we can also say when the double attack is with the knight, we could say that's a fork. Very often we are going to say that's a fork with the knight. But yeah, in general, when we have a double attack with the knight, we are going to say that's a fork. And very often, a lot of players say a fork with the knight. Yeah. And actually, there are some situations where instead of attacking 2 things, we're attacking 3 things. Yeah, that can happen as well. When we have a double attack with the queen, actually, that's probably the most popular double attack, because the queen, as you know, is very powerful. A queen, for example, here on e4, controls many squares. So it can happen very often that the queen is attacking 2 points at the same time. So when we have a double attack with the queen, I don't have a name for that. It's just a double attack with the queen. Yeah, a double threat. We don't say that's a fork. Well, at least I don't call that a fork, and I have never seen it to call that a fork with the queen or something like that. It's just double attack with the queen, if you want to say. So that's the general idea about double attack. We're going to be solving some double attack puzzles in some point here in the lesson. Do you have some question about double attack or something related to this? Well, I have some question here, and it's about something we saw in the previous lesson. You can answer with your own words and with 2, 3, or 4 words if you want. It's just to say the general idea. You don't have to explain too much because we are using the chat. So the question is, what is a combination? You remember? I think we studied that in lesson number 1. Let's see who can answer. What is a combination? Let's see who remembers. Or maybe no one remembers. The question is, what is excellent, Chen? Yeah, actually, Shen said it very well. The question was, what is a combination? We were talking in the first lesson about what a combination is. Yeah, when we talk about combination, we need to say the word sacrifice. Okay, in general, if we don't sacrifice, there is no combination. So keep that in mind. If you say in your answer, sacrifice to win material, I understand. It can be also to give mate, but I said you can say it in short words. So for me, it's fine if you say is a sacrifice to win material, for example, or to give mate. That's something we said in the first lesson. So remember always that combination. We need to talk about sacrifices if we are talking about combination. Okay, that's fine. The other question I was going to ask was about tactical themes, but I think you already understand this more or less. Tactical themes are this we're studying, like double attack, like discovered attack, like pin. Those are tactical themes. And the other thing we mentioned in the first lesson was the motives. So we were talking about what motives are. Motives are the problems our opponent can have. For example, weakness, back rank weakness, hanging piece. Those are problems our opponent might have in some point of the game. When we see those problems, then we could think, well, maybe I have some tactical theme here because my opponent has this problem, or there is this motive for a tactical combination, maybe. Okay, so let's start with the game we're going to study today. As you know, at the beginning, I probably will go a little faster because it's just the opening. But in some point in mirror game, you're going to try to guess the moves. So let's see. This game is between Geller and Portish. Geller playing as white. Geller was very strong and very famous. So he's going to win this game. So let's see what happened here. We have a double king's pawn, and then knight f3 and knight c6. And then we have, yeah, they were Geller versus Portish. Let me write it. Two strong masters from 50 years ago, maybe. Strong and famous masters. So in the game we have this line. Can anyone tell me the name of this variation? Yes, very well, Martin. Yeah, actually it's here, Rui Lopez. This is one of the main moves, bishop b5 in this moment. So black plays a6 and then bishop a4. This is the main line. Knight f6, white castles, and then bishop e7. This is a theoretical line. There are many games with this variation. Rook e1 and then b5. The bishop has to go back to b3 and then d6. In this position, probably the main move is this c3 and then black castles. Geller plays h3 here because it's always annoying, this bishop on g4 pinning. Remember, this knight is always good because it's helping us to protect the center when we play d4. So we're going to need the knight here ready to protect and to attack here on e5. So h3 is very typical in these positions, and black plays h6. Actually, the main moves, I'm not sure where some of you players play Rui Lopez, but it's a very popular and very strong variation as white. In this position, the main options for black are knight a5. I think they call this Shigorin, as I remember. They call another option is knight bishop b7. There is another line here. I think it goes to b8. I think to bring the knight over here, or d7. That's another idea. So the move. So the move we have in the game is h6 is not one of the main options here, but it's also more or less logical. It makes sense controlling g5. Yes, it is true. The one who controls at least 2, 3, or more of these central squares is going to have a very good advantage in the game. If you control the center, actually, that's one of the main principles for the opening. Remember, in the opening, you need to do 3 things. Control the center, develop minor pieces, and castle. From the beginning, you need to control those squares. If you control those squares, you control the whole board. If you control these central squares, you will be controlling the board. That's the idea. So from the beginning, that's one of the rules. Control the center because you're going to need it. Okay, so let's continue and let's see what happened in the game. After h6, white plays d4. This is another typical move in these positions, fighting for the center. Now, white has 2 central pawns, which is very good because white controls some squares like this. So after d4, black plays rook e8. And then the next move for white here is knight b to d2. This is a typical plan in Rui Lopez, and it's also very typical in Italian or Yuco piano. Probably some of you I'm almost sure some of you play or have seen Italian or Yucopiano or Ruy Lopez. So some of you will have this probably in some of your games. So the plan here is that white brings the knight to d2 and then to f1 and from f1 to g3 or sometimes to e3. Also sometimes over h2 to g4. That's another possibility. I think we don't see that so often, but it can also happen, the knight coming over here. The main idea is f1, g3. That's the main path for this knight. The problem is that as white plays c3 here, this is the most natural square for this knight. But as white played c3, then the knight cannot go there. And also after knight d2, we cannot keep the knight on d2 because it's blocking the bishop. So that's when we okay. Okay, please confirm. Something happened. Confirm that we're fine. Perfect. You can hear well, Ananda. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. So it seems like we are good again. Let me close this to make sure we are not intercepting anything. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So everyone is here now. So let's continue. Yeah, unfreezing. Okay. Yeah, I hope it improves in the next seconds. Okay. So I was talking about the knight here from D2. This is very typical in Ruy Lopez, also Italian, and Yuko Piano. You're going to see this plan very often. The knight coming from D2, F1, and G3. The knight from G3 might come to F5, or also in some situations to H5 when we get rid of this knight. So the knight on G3 is going to be fine. It's going to be in a good square. So let's continue. Let's see what happened after this knight D2. Black plays bishop F8. The next move I'm going to say it is knight F1, as we said. And then bishop B7. White plays knight G3, the idea we mentioned. And then queen goes to D7. This is another typical move for black, just connecting black rooks here. And also the queen is looking at the king side. So D takes, and then I'm going to say the next move. You're going to try to understand what is going on. The next move here is knight H5. The knight is hanging here, right? So what's going on? Yeah, that's right. Very well. Yeah, the knight is hanging, but if the knight takes, then the queen is hanging. But I have a question. What if I trade queens first? Then the knight is hanging after that. Excellent, Martin. And also Shen. Very well. Yeah. After queen takes d1, we cannot just take here because the knight is hanging on h5. We need to play an in-between, an intermediate move. So after queen takes queen, we play knight takes knight, check. Black has to recapture on f6, and then we can take the queen. Okay, so this move, knight h5, is a little strange, but actually it's working. Knight h5. Okay, so after knight h5, black plays here queen e7. Okay, from now on, we're going to try to guess moves for white. Let's see who can guess the next move. What would you like to play here as white? Okay, well, Saidi said the right move. Very well, Saidi. It's knight h4. About knight g5 is the move Martin said. Knight g5, I don't see it so clear. Then I can take here. Probably you're thinking to capture with the bishop. Yeah, there is a pin here and some interesting ideas here with knight or bishop takes knight. So yeah, I don't see so clear this knight h4. It's not, probably it's not that strong. Yeah, this plan with knight h4 is very interesting because the idea is that the knight could come to f5. This is a very nice square in these positions because the knight here is controlling, look at this, all these squares. So the knight is very strong from f5 here. Remember the king is here, so a knight controlling the squares over there is very powerful. And in some point, black can try to banish the knight from f5, but then the black is going to be creating weaknesses. You must know that the best square for the pawns here in the castling is in the base. In some point, if you need, you can advance this pawn, as we saw here, because you needed to stop some threat. Okay, you played that. But the best position for the pawns in the castlings, I'm going to repeat, is with the pawns in the base. So when the knight is on f5, in some point black can banish that knight from that square, but it will be creating weaknesses. So the plan of bringing the knight to f5 is very typical and also in general very strong. Yes, very often we play h6 for, to open a window so the king can get some fresh air over here and avoid back rank mates. So of course, in some point we're going to need to do that in the games. Actually, in this game, it was to control this square g5. And the same happened with a3. It was just to control g4. But in some point, we are also going to play h3 or 6 to control the back rank. Okay. So let's continue with the game. And let's see what happened after knight h4. Also notice that the queen now protects the knight on h5. Actually, that's the next move. Knight takes h5. I'm going to say the next for white because it's pretty clear. Queen takes h5 and then knight a5. Okay, you have some time now. Do not rush. Let me know what is the next move here for white. Okay, you have been saying some moves. Yeah, there is a problem now. Black is taking the bishop. That's a little annoying because the bishop is very powerful here. Notice that this bishop is attacking f7, also the queen. So I would like to keep this bishop, but yeah, he's taking the bishop now. Well, you have been saying some moves. The best move I can see there in the moves you have been saying is this knight f5. Martin said, I like that move a lot. That's probably what I could play if I cannot find the move Geller found in this moment. So knight f5 is very logical. It's probably the second best move in the position. But the best move is a very special idea, something really tough, really hard to find. Also, you were saying bishop takes h6. It's not exactly that. Also, in some point, it's interesting because you are destroying the pawn structure here, but it's not the move we have in the game. So keep analyzing there and let's see who can find the move Geller played in this position. One of the principles for the attack, for your attack to be successful, is that you need to attack with more pieces than your opponent is defending. So a move like rook e3, Martin is saying, I think makes sense. So don't forget this move. Probably in some point we're going to use this idea of bringing the rook to the king side. But it's not the move we're looking for. The move we're looking for, I will give you a small clue here, is a sacrifice. But it's a very special sacrifice because you're not going to sacrifice with a capture. That's what makes this move complicated. Excellent, Saidi. You just found the move. No, the right move is this bishop g5. Very well. Yeah, I was saying that what makes this sacrifice so difficult is that it's not a sacrifice capturing something. So probably we are used to sacrifice on h6 or on h7 or something like that. But sacrificing here, just bishop g5, no capture, no anything, it makes it much more difficult to find it. So let's try to understand what is the idea. Yes, yes. It is a sacrifice. Yes, it is a sacrifice because your opponent can capture a piece for free there. So it is a sacrifice. So let's try to understand. Bishop g5, I have a question. What happens after queen takes bishop? Okay, I need two moves. I mean, don't say the first one only. Also say the second, just to make sure you saw the whole variation. Yes, that's it. Very well, Chan. Yes. Yeah, there is mate. Yes, there is mate in 2. Yes, that's right. Excellent. So bishop g5, if black captures with queen, then we have queen takes f7, the king moves here or here, and then queen g8. Remember, the bishop is protecting the queen, and also remember the knight is controlling g6. So this is going to be mate. The king gets mated. That's it. So after bishop g5, queen takes bishop doesn't work, but I have another question. What happens after h takes g5? This is a bishop for free, right? What's happening after that? Martin, you mean bishop c2, right? Or what is the move you mean? Oh, okay, perfect. Okay. So bishop g5, h takes, and then what? Martin says bishop c2. Yes. Martin and also Chen and also Shishir found the move. Yes, very well. After bishop g5, if black takes with h, the next move will be knight g6. Remember, there is a pin here, so this pawn cannot capture the knight. So knight g6, we are threatening the queen, but actually we are not going to need the queen because we are going to mate here on h8, and I think that's unstoppable. So white will have mate in the next move, whatever black plays. So knight g6 and queen h8. So any question about this bishop g5 h takes? Let me know if it is clear, the variation, or if some of you have some question, you can let me know. Perfect. Excellent. So let's continue. Let's continue then, and let's see what happened after bishop g5. Then Portish, of course, saw the two variations. He saw that after queen takes, he would be mated, and after pawn takes, he would be mated with knight g6. So he said, I cannot capture here. I'm just playing and moving my queen somewhere. So after bishop g5, he played queen d7. What is the next move here? Okay. Okay. Yeah, just to be clear, queen takes f7, because some of you were analyzing this. It's not working because black is controlling f7 with two pieces. So if we play queen takes pawn, he plays queen takes queen, and when we capture, he takes, and then we are a piece down here. A piece down and without queens. It means that he also traded queens, so we're not going to have too much attack. Remember, that's something important. When we trade queens, very often the attack finishes. There is not too much attack in general when we trade queens. So that's the problem. If we trade queens here, we will lose a piece, and as we don't have queens, there won't be attack. The right move is going to be this. Some of you already found Rook A D1. Remember this: every time you can improve some piece and at the same moment threaten something, that's a good move. In general, that's a good move. You're improving one piece, threatening the queen, so what's better than that? So don't forget that idea because it's going to help you. Usually that's the best move in the position. When you have a move improving a piece that is doing nothing, like this rook is doing nothing here, so you improve it, you threaten a queen, you bring the rook to an open file. That has to be a strong move. So rook d1 is the move Geller plays here, and then Portish plays bishop d6. What is the next move here? Okay, I have some small question here. You play knight f5. What happens after h takes g5? Or maybe even better, knight f5, then knight takes bishop, because this bishop is very powerful, and in some point there might be some move here on g6. So knight f5, then knight takes bishop, and then I can take probably the bishop on g5. So this idea of knight f5 is very good always, but right now we need to be careful because the bishop is hanging here, and we want to make sure that if we sacrifice a piece, we get a strong attack. The move, Sally already said it, excellent, yeah, some time ago, is going to be bishop takes a6, very well. The idea is that we are destroying the pawn structure here on the castling. So this is very dangerous here for black. Notice that we will have queen, knight, bishop, and even when you don't see it right now, the rooks are attacking because at any point the rooks might come over the third rank. So we have many pieces ready to attack. So bishop takes h6 is the move. After g takes h6, what is the next move? Yes, in some point, Martin, you were saying queen g4. Yeah, I see that you realized it's not a good idea because the queen can take here, and we don't want to trade. Of course, we want to continue with the attack. So yeah, queen g4 is not. So okay, well, I think Sairi found the move in some point here, some seconds ago. Yes, the next move is going to be queen g6. Yeah, yeah, I understand. Rook is free. Yeah, this is another logical move. In some point, it can be also very interesting. This rook is free, but you will see that this queen g6 is very strong because this is check. Remember, we have a piece down in this position. We don't want to make a pause in the attack. We want to keep the initiative, threatening things at every moment. So a move like queen g6 is check. So black cannot prepare any defensive idea or something. This is just a check, and we continue threatening things. For example, if we are going to capture the pawn on h6, it is much better to play queen g6 and then capture with check, because we are getting tempos. It's with the same idea. We don't stop, we don't lose the initiative. That's very good. So yeah, queen takes, I mean queen g6 is the move. Remember, just to be clear, there is a bishop here, so the pawn cannot capture because of the pin here. I hope that's clear. So queen g6, black plays king f8, and then the most logical move, I'm going to say the most logical just to make sure you're not going to say it because that's not the one. The most logical move is queen takes h6. That move is strong, is winning, but that's not the move Geller played in this game. I want you to try to find the move Geller played. Again, I'm going to repeat. Queen takes h6 is strong, is good, it's winning, but it's not the one we have in the game. Geller played something different, also very strong. So that's the one I want you to find. Yes, yes, the pin is very useful. Yeah, that is something very important. I'm glad you realized about this. This bishop here is very strong. I said that some time ago, and now you can see it one more time. Yeah, the bishop is helping us because now we can use the g6 square, and also the bishop has some threats on f7. But also you said, Ananda, something very interesting. Now there is no more pin, so we cannot forget that. As long as the king g8, there's no capture here. But now the king moved to f8, so don't forget that because you could lose your queen if you don't see that. Shishi, remember what I just said. Now the king is not on g8. It means that there is no pin here. So now black is threatening the queen. So be careful. I don't know if you wanted to sacrifice the queen intentionally or if you missed this. But it's not a good idea, this knight f5, because pawn takes queen. And then you don't have attack. Excellent. We need to move the queen right now because, as we said, the pawn is taking the queen. We have some options. Queen h6 is probably very logical because we are getting a pawn, we are putting the king in check. So again, what's better than that? We are getting one pawn, we are giving a check. So it's really difficult to find a better move than queen takes pawn check, destroying the structure here in the castling. So yeah, this move is really good. But actually, there is a better move, and that's the one Ananda said, and also Shen found here. It is queen f6. That's it. The idea with queen f6, yeah, of course, there is a pin here, and there is something very important here when we play queen f6. That is my next question. Queen f6, what is white threatening? Yes, very well, Shen. Shen was the first one to find the move and also to find or to text the whole variation. Yes, and when we play queen f6, we are threatening mate in two moves. Remember, there is a pin here. The pawn cannot capture because the king will be behind. So we can play something like knight g6, check. The king will have to move to g8, and then we can play queen h8. Remember, the knight is going to be here protecting the queen. So queen f6 is very strong because white is threatening mate in two with knight g6 and queen h8. Very well. So let's see. Queen f6, black plays here, king g8. What is the next move for white? Okay, well, I know knight g6 is very logical. It seems pretty good. Even when I saw that this game for the first time, I saw this was going to be the move. Is the most logical move here. So why not knight g6? It seems unstoppable here, queen h8. But actually, after knight g6, there is a way black can avoid checkmate. That's my next question. I think some of you were asking me about defensive moves in the first lesson. So this is the defensive move question. After knight g6, white is threatening mate in 1. I think there is only one way to stop that mate in 1. What is that move? Or that way to stop the mate? A defensive move. That's it. Excellent, Chen. That's the move. So if we play knight g6, it's almost mate with queen h8, but he can play king h7. I think white is very well still, but yeah, we will have to play some more moves. It's not that clear. Yeah, well, actually knight g6 is going to be winning in some lines there, but there is a much better move than knight g6, because then if we play knight g6, I repeat, black can play king h7, and then the rook protects h8, so there won't be mate. So what is the right move in this position instead of knight g6? When we are attacking the king, we need to follow some principles. One of the principles is control many squares around the king, like all this square. When the king is in the castling, you need to control all these squares, or some of those squares. That's one of the principles. So that's one. Another principle, control the center. That's something we were saying at the beginning. You're controlling the center here with the pawn, with the bishop, with the rook. So this is fine. And the other principle, very important, is that you need to attack with more pieces than your opponent is defending. So you need to attack probably with all your pieces, or as many pieces as you can. And then we have this idea we mentioned in the previous, well, not in the previous lesson, but some minutes ago, we were talking about this idea of rook e3. This is very typical. When you're bringing the rook to the attack in the king side, very often the rook goes over the third rank. This is a typical idea here. So yeah, we are following those with this move. Attack with as many pieces as possible. If you bring the rook to e3, this is almost winning. So rook e3, and here Portage resigned in this position after rook e3. But I still have some question, okay? I still have some question here. Rook e3, my question is, what happens after king h7? What do you play? Okay, I'm almost about to say it. So some more seconds, or I would say the move after king h7. Okay, well, after king h7, there is this rook g3, but then I'm not sure. He can play rook g8, protecting g7. So probably this is not the best. My favorite move. Okay, that's another one. That's another one. Bishop takes f7 looks good, Chen. Yes, because you're threatening queen g6, and when the king goes back, queen h6. So bishop takes f7 looks good. My favorite move after king h7 is this knight f5. Because then you're threatening mate on g7. And if the rook comes to g8 to protect g7, we will have mate in 1. What is the move? Yeah, I know you meant queen takes h6, Chen. Very well. That's it. Yes, it's fine. Excellent. Yeah, it's queen takes h6. So after king h7, I think knight f5 is very strong. If black plays rook d8, we just take on h6, and this is going to be mate. So king h7 doesn't really work. I have another question for you. What happens if the king comes to f8? I mean, right now, h7, king f8. What is the move? Yes, yes, Martin. Yes, I know. Okay, perfect. So knight g6, king h8, and then what? I mean, king g8, knight g6, king comes back to g8, and then queen h7 or h8, right? That's it. That's it. Very well. So king f8 doesn't work either because knight g6 and queen h8 made in 2. So that's the problem. That's why Portish resigned in this position, because there's no way to stop rook g3, and a move like king h7 doesn't work because knight f5. A move like king f8 doesn't work because knight goes to g6 and mate in the next. So he had to resign here. Any question about the analysis of this final moment of the game? Perfect. Perfect. So very quickly, we're going to see the main moments of this game, because I think there were some very interesting situations here we need to remember. This is theoretical line, many games with this variation. So I'm not talking too much about this. It's just something they memorized, but are the right moves for this line. And then d4, and then this plan, knight d2. Don't forget it, because you're going to see it very often. In Yuko Piano, in Rui Lopez, Italian, this is a typical plan. The knights come to f1 to g3, and then controls squares over the king side. And at the same time, the bishop has the diagonal. Yeah, this move is interesting. Just attacking the defender of the queen. So yeah, it's an interesting sacrifice. Actually, it's not a sacrifice because he cannot take because the queen is hanging. So black plays here queen e7. And here we have knight h4, another typical move. Remember this, because in this kind of positions, this square is very interesting for the knight. So that's also something we need to remember. The idea of bringing the knight to f5 is strong, so don't forget it. And then this move, very special, sacrificing the bishop, but actually black cannot take with queen or pawn, that will be mate. So that's a very nice move, very elegant, very soft sacrifice here. And then we improve the rook and get a tempo at the same time. And then the sacrifice destroying the pawn structure, taking advantage of the pin, because there will be checks in the next move. And then also an important move here, also something we shouldn't forget, the idea of bringing the rook to the attack in the king side using the third rank. So after this move, black resigned. I'm going to answer your question, Ananda, now, but first, any question about the game? No question. It's more or less clear. Good. Well, for knights, Ananda is a good defense, a good opening. I think it's good. In some positions, white can get some small advantage. Also, there are some interesting tricks with 4 knights. So if you like it, you can play it. I know in the best players in the world don't play it very often because they love Rui Lopez and sometimes Italian and those things. But actually, there is nothing wrong with 4 knights. Probably they avoid it a little because sometimes in the highest level there can be many draws with 4 knights. But I think it's a nice opening. I like it. It's called Scotch 4 Knights and English. Yeah, Rui Lopez is also good, but there is too much theory behind Rui Lopez. If you are going to play Rui Lopez, you know, in some moment you will have to make a pause and study theory, memorize the moves. That's a little annoying. But yeah, it's very strong, definitely. English is good, Martin. English is good, but you know, in this level, in this rating, it is very good that you play open, like King's Pawn and all those variations with tactics and tricks. That's very good in this level. So you develop your tactic and calculation skills. That's very good. But of course, it's very strong English. And Scandinavian is annoying, but remember that when your opponent plays Scandinavian, you just can't capture, and then you play knight c3. That position is always slightly better for white. Remember that one of the principles for the opening is that it's not one of the principles, it's like one of the rules. The queen should not come early outside, you know, in the opening. And the one who plays Scandinavian is breaking this. So the queen comes out too early and white can develop and threaten. It's the same idea we said some time ago. A piece that is doing nothing, you improve it, and it's threatening the queen. So it's getting a tempo, it's very good. Of course, Sicilian is probably the most popular move against e4 here. Against e4, the most popular move, I'm almost sure it's e5 here, Sicilian. Also e5 is very popular. But the most popular in the elite should be the c5, I think, Sicilian. Okay, so let's continue with the lesson because we still have to do some things. I want you to play again. So let's go to chess.com there. Yeah, you don't like it, you mean as black. You don't like Sicilian as black, Ananda, is what you're saying? Yeah. Yeah, it's very strong. It's very strong. But there are many ways to play it. There are many variations into Sicilian. You can play knight off. You can play Scheveningen. You can play dragon, Paulsen, can. So there are many variations. You need to find your favorite in some point. But there are many ways to play. Okay, so I was saying that, yeah, let's go to chess.com, play live chess. And then I'm going to see as you play. Remember, you try to challenge to find an opponent for 10 minutes and a random opponent for a 10 minutes game. I will be watching as you play and probably giving you some tips in some point during the game or probably after you finish the game, okay? So let's go there to live chess and let's create a challenge. Remember, 10 minutes for each player. Yeah, you can start playing as whenever you want. Just create the challenge and you can play. I see Shen is already playing, I think. Remember, you have 10 minutes, so you don't have to rush, okay? You can think a little and analyze. Yes, I'm watching all of them. I think still need to open some more game. But yes, I can see your game, Ananda. Be careful, your opponent is threatening. Well, he did not see d5. He could play d5 and take your knight. So pay attention to that threat because your knight is pinned there. You should be careful with your knight. It's a little out of play there on a5, and your opponent might play in some point some b4. Yeah. You can replay Martin if you want. Okay, yeah. You can replay it. I'm going to check your game, I think, very quickly. Well, if Martin, if you didn't start, please don't start so we can analyze the game together as they're playing. Yeah, don't start, Martin, so we can see the game together. Meanwhile, as they are playing. Yeah, here everything is pretty clear. You're fine in this position. You have a good middle game. Oh, yeah, no, never mind. Just continue playing. It's fine. Continue playing, Martin. Okay. Ananda, your opponent, I'm watching your game right now. Your opponent is threatening something. I see you have some material up, but your opponent is threatening something, so you need to take care of that threat. He's attacking the rook on h8. That's the only threat he has right now, I think. So something very important for you in these positions is that you can castle very soon. So, you know, try to protect the rook, I guess, or to move the rook, and then you castle as soon as possible. That's the tip I'm going to give you, because if your king goes to a safe place, yeah, that's the move I really liked in this position, rook g8, and then try to castle as soon as possible. If your king is safe, you're going to win because you have material up. So all you need to do is to pass from this storm, you know, get rid of the storm here. And when the storm is gone, you're going to win because you have a lot of material up. I'm going to check the other games. Yeah, that knight from on a5 Shishir was not very good. So yeah, that's a good trade for you. The knight was not good. Of course, your opponent has a small advantage here because he already developed all his pieces. He already castled. He's threatening something right now. So yeah, he has a small advantage, but you know, there is a long game ahead. So you can continue fighting here. Just focus and keep playing. Be careful, your opponent is threatening a double attack. Something we're studying this lesson, double attack. So be careful, Shen, with the threats. You're in a balanced game, so it's fine. He has development problems, but you need to pay attention to your opponent's threats. And Adele, I see you have some material down, so you're losing here, but it's fine. You can keep fighting here and probably try to find some position. Maybe he stalemates you or something. So yeah, keep playing and let's see what happens. And Saidi, you are also some material down here, but the same idea. We need to keep fighting, right? Your opponent has like a rook up. Try to create some threats. If you can create some fork threat or something like that with the knight, that could be helpful in some point. But I know your position is very difficult in this moment. Ananda, I'm looking at your game. I see you're offering trade and also threatening something. He didn't want to trade, but now he's going to be in trouble if you find the right move. Yeah, I saw Ananda. I saw you took and then you pained. Yes, that was the right way to play in that position. So meanwhile, as they are playing, let me take a look at what happened here. You castle. That's very good because now the king is safe and you have a rook and a knight up. Yeah, congratulations, Ananda. Yeah. So here you continue, and then you're threatening the bishop. And then queen g5. This move is very good, this queen g5, because you're offering trade and threatening g2 at the same time. That's good. Well, probably he can still play something like queen e4, protecting g2. But the move is still nice, this queen g5. Yeah, I saw, Saidi, that you lost the game. Let me check how you lost the. Yeah, okay. In this moment, you play f6, Saidi. Pay attention here. Instead of f6, if you play that, he can play knight f7. This is a fork, which is a double threat. The fork with the knight is a double attack or double threat, the tactical thing we are studying today. So you missed this fork with the knight. So you could play here, for example, knight h6, protecting f7, or bishop g6, also protecting f7. Those moves were fine here. Well, you missed that, and then you lost the rook, and then it was very difficult. Okay. Yeah, I didn't open the second one because I had many games open here, Martin, but I saw you won one and then the other one a draw. So that seems very nice. Okay. No, it's fine. I just wanted to analyze the game because it's helpful always. But yeah, playing is also very good. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, and he's playing here, and the game is very difficult right now. But he's fighting here. His opponent has 2 minutes. Adele, I don't think I have your game, your the entire game. But what happened in your game? Did you lose? Because according to what I see here, uh, I know you didn't have advantage, so probably you lost. No, please. Adele and Shishi, please confirm what happened in your games, just to know it, because I don't have the whole games here. So just to know what happened. Yeah, and here, chance opponent is not very clear how to mate, so anything can happen here if he continues playing. His opponent continues playing run. Yeah, this position with queen, rook, and knight creating threats. Yeah, there were many mates in one, and chance opponent didn't play those mates. So these positions with queen, rook, knight, controlling the squares around the king are very likely to finish with stalemate. So, and also they were playing under time pressure. Yeah, it's frozen right now, but uh, let's see what happened in this game. Yeah, Ananda is very sad because her opponents always resign, so she can never give mate. Let me see if I can check what happened in this game. Yeah, I don't have the entire game here, unfortunately. Okay. Well, in the opening, something happened here. Let me tell you something. Chen, pay attention here for some seconds. When your opponent plays queen h5, probably yes, Ananda, I said that. Am I wrong? Please correct me if I'm wrong, please. So queen h5, when your opponent plays this, is because probably he wants to threaten mate here on f7. He wants to play scholar mate. But also when white plays queen h5, white is threatening e5. So first of all, we need to pay attention to this threat. The best move in this position, Chen, is going to be knight c6. You protect the pawn. If your opponent plays now bishop c4, now he's threatening mate on f7. You can play some moves. One of them is g6. Another possibility is going to be queen f6 or also queen e7, protecting the mate. But first, you need to protect the pawn on e5. If you play knight f6, then he takes, and then you are a pawn down from the beginning of the game, since the beginning of the game. So, you know, when your opponent plays a scholar mate, he's trying to capture here, and also preparing bishop c4, then first we need to protect the pawn, so knight c6 is the best move. Please, Shen, confirm you understood the idea about how to play against this queen h5 preparing scholar mate. Yeah, also, Ananda saying something interesting. Don't play g6 because then your opponent can take on e5. It will be check, and it will be taking the rook. By the way, we are talking about double threats. This is a double threat. This is check and capture. Check and capture is a double threat. You're attacking the king, and also you're attacking the rook. So g6 is a very bad idea. So remember, knight c6, and then if he plays bishop c4, then you protect with probably g6 is a good move. But if you don't like it, you can play queen f or e7. Please, Shen, confirm you understood the idea we said here. Okay, perfect. So we continue with the lesson, and now we're going to solve many puzzles. And let's see who who can find the solution in these positions. The first puzzles we are going to see will be about double attack. So we are going here to learning, and let's select here Okay, here it is. So we have double attack, and they will be between 10 and 12, more or less. Okay. So let's start. Okay, so pay attention here, Ananda, and I think it's Martin, because we're already starting with the puzzles, and this is like a competition, you know. Let's see who can find first the solution. Okay, this is the first one, black to move. Where's the right move here? Yeah, I understood, Martin, what you said. Also, Chen said the move. Ananda had the same text, the same move, but I know she meant queen a3. Yeah, something happened because this is not the puzzle we were looking for. So I'm going to check the settings there. But of course, the solution here is queen a3. That's very easy for you. It's just mating one. So I'm going to check the range again because something was not well in the settings, because that's not even a double thread or fork. So let me check it again. So we have fork here, and we have between 10 and 12. So it shouldn't be so easy actually, but it seems to be fine in the settings. Let's see another one. Black to move. Remember, if it is too easy, I will use the 10 seconds rule, okay? I will say 10 seconds, and you have to find it in that time, because then I will hide the position. So pay attention, because in some point I can do that. Excellent, Martin. Very well. Yes, the right way to play in this position will be queen takes queen. Ananda, if you play queen to 1, he can take, and then when you take, it's not mate. He can escape to f or h2. So the right idea is just trading first. The rook won't be protecting the back rank anymore, and then you can play rook d1. And this is a double threat. You're attacking the king, you're attacking the bishop at the same time. We can also say this is a check and capture, because you're checking when the king moves, or when white blocks, or whatever they play, you will be able to capture the bishop. We're going to see it on the board right now, but before I move the pieces, any question about the solution? You trade first, and then you check and get the bishop. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to play queen takes and check, and we get the bishop. Let's see the next. Remember, I can use the 10 seconds rule. So if I say 10 seconds, you don't have too much time. Okay, perfect. Let's see the next one. Let me see the next button. Oh yeah, it's here. Yeah, okay. Okay, black to move here, and you have 10 seconds. Okay, time. What was the move? Yeah, it seems like knight takes c2 and then knight takes rook is the best line. There's a knight hanging on c8, something you can capture right now, but it is much better to capture the rook because you can get the knight later. Remember, that knight is going to be trapped. We're going to see it on the browser right now. I was saying that you can capture the knight here on c8, but it is much better to capture here first, because notice that this knight is trapped here. The knight cannot escape. So you can just get the rook, or maybe the exchange, because probably your knight will stay trapped here as well. So first you get here the rook or the exchange, and then you will get the knight later. That's the right way to play. So we have a fork with the knight here. Any question about this one? Well, I think many of you found the right idea. It was not complicated, so I'm going to play it on the board. And then the next move is, I think, clear. Just taking the knight, right? Okay. So let's go to the next. Black to move, you have 10 seconds. Time. Martin and Chishir found rook e3, but rook e3, then what? I think white can play king f4 after rook e3. If you need the board again, because you couldn't find it, I will bring it. Excellent. Very well, Martin. That's the idea. Rook e3, when the king goes to f4, you will have a double threat with the rook to e4, and you will get the knight. So I'm going to bring it so everyone can understand the idea. The right move here is rook e3, and then after the king goes to f4, which is the only move in this position, then black can play rook e4. This is check and capture. Again, a double threat, getting the knight. So very well. I'm going to play it on the board. Before I play it, any question about this? It's just getting some material in 2 moves. Okay, let's continue then. So check and capture. Check and capture now, and then we get the knight. Okay, very well. Let's go to the next. White plays. And white wins. You don't have to rush. I won't use the 10 seconds rule this time. Okay, yes. Rook e4. Yeah. Rook e4, and we are pinning here. If black plays rook d8, which is the only move to protect the bishop, then it's not so clear because we can play either knight f5 or knight e2, trying to get the bishop. So I'm not sure what can happen after rook d8 because both moves are winning. So then we're not sure how to play after that. But yeah, that's the way to win. So let's play it. Rook e4. Yeah, the king moves, then we just capture the bishop. Yeah, they didn't play this move rook d8 because then we would have two winning moves. And if we play one, then it could be the other. So just to avoid that variation, they just move the king to avoid that we have two winning lines because then we don't know what is the right line. So we just take the bishop. Okay, next one. White to move here. Yes, excellent, Chen. Also very well, Martin, Ananda, and Chichi. But Chen said the whole variation. That's very good. Yeah, I understood. Okay, so rook takes g7 seems pretty clear. This is check. The king will have to move, and then we can capture the bishop. In some point, it can be confusing that probably we can be looking for mate, but there's no mate. The best line is just getting the bishop. Rook check, and then just take the bishop, I think. There's nothing better than that. So we're going to play that. Rook check, and rook takes the bishop. Next one. Black to move. Okay, so Chen already found the variation. I see Shishir is also finding, and also Martin. Okay, that's the line. Just trade on d2. He has to take back, and then we can play knight d2 because then we cleared this square for the knight. So knight d2, and then we have a fork. Remember, that's the theme for our lesson today. Double attack, and fork is some kind of double attack. So we just trade, and then we can play knight d2, fork, getting the rook. So I hope it's clear. If you have some question, please text it, but I think it's more or less clear. I'm going to play it on the board. So rook takes, and then knight check. Yeah, if it is easy, probably I'm using the next, the 10 seconds in the next, okay? So pay attention. Yeah, black to move, you have 10 seconds. Time. So Okay, anyone else? Okay, I will give you some more time because I think that's not the one. I think. Let me bring it so you can analyze it. Let's see. Okay. Remember white has a rook here on h1, right? So if you play bishop c1, the rook can capture. Excellent, Chen. One more time. Very good. Yes. So rook takes d2. The king has to take, and then we have the fork with the knight. So we can play knight e4, check, and capture. Excellent. So I'm going to play it because I think it's more or less clear. And then we'll get the bishop. Okay, we're going to solve some more, but first let me tell you so you can copy the homework. We still have like 7 more minutes, so it's fine. But let me tell you what is the homework for the next lesson. The homework for the next lesson is going to be to solve, I was going to say 3 puzzles per day, but I'm not sure if you understood the idea. So I'm just going to say the same, 2 puzzles per day. I'm going to check that 2 puzzles per day for the next lesson. So they are 12 puzzles. The range is going to be the same. Remember, you come here to puzzles, you will have this in front. When you have this, you come here to learning. You're going to use the learning mode. And then we are going to use this one, all themes. And the range is going to be, the rating range is going to be between 800 and 1000. That's the homework. Remember, 12 puzzles is easy. I mean, for the whole week. Yes, that's the range, Ananda. Yes. From 800 to 1000. So 2 puzzles per day is like 12 puzzles. I'm just assuming we have 6 days. I'm not counting probably Sunday, for example. So 6 days, 2 puzzles per day is going to be 12 puzzles. It's the same homework. Just keep working. I'm going to check that, okay, in the next lesson. Please let me know if the homework is clear, because I saw there were some problems today. I mean, some of you did it, but you were not solving puzzles between 800 and 1000. And some of you did it, solving the really tough puzzles, but you were working here on rated, and it is better on learning, I think. Yeah, I mean, it is better, so you can use a range, selected puzzles on this range, on this rating range. Yes, Martin, if you want to do higher, that's perfect. That's fine. Of course, it is even better. That's excellent. I'm just saying 12 as the minimum amount of puzzles I want you to do. I want you to do at least this during the week, because I know it's going to help. But actually, if you see much more than 12, of course, you are going to improve much more and much faster. I suggest you take a print screen here if you want or something, remember, you go to puzzles, and here, instead of staying here on rated, you don't stay here, you go to learning. And once in learning, you pick this rating range from 800 to 1000. So the difficulty of the puzzles will be over there. Yes, I understood. Yes. Yeah, I understood that. I also saying that you can do more puzzles, but they can be more difficult. Yes, I understand, and yeah, that's also perfect. They can be more difficult, and they can be more than 12. Yes. Okay, so if it is clear this time, we're going to try to solve some more very quickly. And this is not going to be double thread, it's going to be all themes from 12 to 14. Let's see, they are going to be more difficult now. Okay, perfect. Okay, well, this was supposed to be more difficult, but actually it's easier, I think. White plays, white wins. 10 seconds. Time. Yes, very well. Yeah, excellent. That's the move. Knight f6. It's just mate in one. So we were looking for more complicated puzzles, and this is easier. Just knight here, mate. Okay, one more. Black to move. 10 seconds. Gone. Yes. Chen was the first one to find it again. Queen b5. I don't think that's the one. Yeah, you could get the rook on that line, Martin, but he doesn't have to move the king. Let's see. Martin is saying we finish with this. Martin is saying queen b5 check. And then if the king moves, he takes the rook. But remember, the king doesn't have to move. After the check, the rook can also block here. So this is interesting, but this is not the best. The best is just rook takes. He has to take. That's the only move. And then queen d1, as Shen found. Very good. So I'm going to play it. I hope it's clear. It's made in 2 moves. Okay, so we are almost finishing the lesson. Do you have some question about anything? The homework, the lesson, this puzzle, anything? Okay, good. So we finish here. I will see you then on next week, on next Monday. Remember, work with the homework. Also remember to stay home. So perfect. Yeah, see you next Monday. You were fantastic, all of you in the lesson. Very good. Bye.